Thanks so much for taking the time to come learn about the program tonight. My name is Susan Burho. I'm the program coordinator, and I'll be walking us through a presentation that kind of describes the program. So presenting and moderating today with me are some of my peers. I have Kirsty Abbott, who's the Assistant IESP Coordinator. My name's at the top there, Susan Burho. I'm the coordinator of the programs.
Thanks for joining us tonight. So my name is Kirsty Abbott. I am the Assistant Coordinator for IESP, also a former student. So I'll just begin by giving our land acknowledgement for Carleton University, as we like to recognize that it sits on traditional, unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Nation. All right, so the Enriched Support Program and the Indigenous Enriched Support Program, which is its sister program, was developed to create an opportunity for students whose academic record may not represent their potential. So it's an alternative entry into university studies. So it is a first-year study program. It's full-time, offering first-year courses with the academic supports in order to build a basis for admission to a degree. So we'll talk more about what academic supports are included. And upon successful completion, the admission to degrees in the arts and social sciences, and we also have streams in the business, engineering, computer science, and science program. And back to Susan.
Thank you, Kirsty. I don't remember how to unmute myself. Sorry, guys. So what the program looks like, if you're coming into the Enriched Support Program or the Indigenous Enriched Support Program, this kind of gives you a sense of what a schedule might look like, how the program itself is set up. So as a student in ESP or IESP, you're enrolled in 3 credit courses. And those courses are supported by 2 workshops. So if you look at the stuff that's sort of outlined in red in this slide, those are the things that would be built into your schedule. If you were coming into a degree as a through the traditional route, you could take up to 5 first-year courses. So as a student in our program, you're in a smaller number of courses, but you're in the same number of things. You're just spending your time a little bit differently in a combination of credit courses and non-credit workshops. And the goal of the program really is to try and help you structure and get accustomed to the way that university works. So structure your time and get used to university's demands. I think one of the key differences between, say, a high school method of learning and a college method of learning, different from university, is that in high school and even in college, most of your learning takes place in a classroom setting. With university, that can really change. When you're in 5 things, typically each of them is going to be 3 hours a week. So your typical university course, you're meeting with that professor for 3 hours a week. So if you're a full-time student taking 5 courses, that means your schedule might be 15 hours a week, and that's full-time. But it really kind of sounds more like a part-time job, doesn't it? And the big change, the big flip when you come to university is that there's this expectation that you're spending more hours outside of class working on the stuff than you are actually in class. So there's an expectation of independent learning, that for every hour in class, you're doing 1 to 2 hours of work outside of class. And the professor in designing that class is assigning you readings, is giving you assignments, essays, tests, and everything that's going to add up to at least that much more time outside of class. So I think one of the challenges as a first-year student coming in is, how do you organize that time? How do you make good use of it? How do you stay on top of things and not let yourself procrastinate? And part of what we're doing in the way that we organize the program is trying to help you with that transition. So the workshops are there to help you organize some of that study time and stay on top of things. So I'm going to talk about each of these aspects so that you have a sense of what you're getting yourself into if you come into a program like ours. The first-year seminar course that you would enroll in is something that all first-year students at the university are encouraged to consider. So a first-year seminar course is a regular credit course. It's worth a credit towards most degree programs at the university. The difference between it and one of your traditional first-year courses is that It's a small class. You'll have a chance to get to know your professor and have more participatory kinds of discussions. It's going to be an active learning class, so an opportunity for discussion, debate, um, participation. And our particular seminars are taught by instructors and our faculty. And the goal of all the first year seminars is really to introduce you to what university expects in terms of academic reading and writing and research skills, at the same time that they're teaching you whatever the content of the course is. So if you look at some of those sample titles, they're not your traditional course titles, and they're really meant to preview more of what happens at the third and fourth year level, where you kind of have special topics courses, as opposed to something like that's a broad introduction to a discipline. So your typical first year course would be a broad introduction to psychology or chemistry or sociology or whatever. These first year seminar courses are really kind of modeled more on the third and fourth year level courses, but they're really designed for the first year student to get you used to university. And one of the unique aspects of the first year seminars in the ESP and the IESP is that we hire peer mentors to work in those courses. So they're former students who've been in your shoes, kind of know what it's like as a student coming in that first year. And they're there to offer transition advice. They're there to share their experience as a student coming in and the stuff they had to figure out and learn and master along the way. I find that they're just a really good social connection. And if you consider this year that we're going to be online, at least in the fall, as far as we know, it might be for the year. They haven't made an announcement about winter yet. I think those peer mentor connections are going to be more important than ever, just to give you a sense of connection to the university and to help you build that sense of community. In addition to the first year seminar, you'll be enrolled in a couple of elective courses. Now those, we're calling them elective courses, but they actually might end up being the courses in your major. So if you're coming into the arts and social sciences stream of our program, that means you're kind of orienting yourself to courses within the Bachelor of Arts typically. You'll have a variety of first year courses to choose from. So you can see that list there. I won't read them all out. But we try and choose courses to offer you that are your traditional, the typical courses that students might want to build in terms of a major down the line. So you'll be in those first year classes along with, everybody else in the first year at the university. They don't know you're in ESP unless you tell them. And you can see from this photo, this is what it would look like if you were going to attend the courses in person. Now, as I say, this fall, things are moving online because of the pandemic, so it's going to be a bit of a different experience, but they will be large-scale courses and providing a broad introduction to a discipline. And they're typically the first year required course in whatever the field is. For students coming into one of our other streams, business, computer science, engineering, the course selection is much more restricted. And that's because those programs have fewer electives and more of a prescribed pattern of study. A lot of the programs like business and engineering, for example, also restrict their courses to students who are already admitted to the degree. So what we try and do is choose courses that will help you toward the major, help you qualify for the major, and count once you get in. So in the business stream, we have you enroll in economics, calculus, and marketing, which are all required courses in business, so and yet open to any student. For computer science, we have you do the introductory courses in computer science and a calculus and an algebra. For science and engineering, you're taking chemistry as well as calculus and algebra. So those courses would be in addition to the first year seminar courses that students are taking. So those are the credit courses that you would enroll in as a student in our program. And each of those electives, so those large introductory courses that you would enroll in, will be supported with a workshop. And so I think the workshops are something that especially in this online learning environment, are going to be valuable to people. They're really designed to help you, as I said before, organize your study time, because what they do is they force you to devote a certain amount of time each week to meeting with other people and working on the course content. So they are weekly workshops designed to support you in each of your elective courses, and they're there to help you learn and practice effective academic skills and form good, strong habits while you review that weekly course material. The peer facilitator who leads them gets a lot of training on what to kind of incorporate in terms of what the research tells us are effective approaches to learning and retaining information. They're going to attend that first year course all over again, even though they already took it a year or two ago and kind of mastered that content. They're going to attend it all over again so that when they're designing the activities for you guys to do each week, they're basing it on the content that you need to know that week in the course. So if you think about it, and you think about some of the pitfalls of something like online learning, where it's so easy to fall behind because you think to yourself, I'll get to that lecture later, or I'll get to those readings later. The workshops are there to help you maintain a level of structure and keep on top of things. They're that built-in accountability piece. You get a chance to know other people too in the class because you're meeting with the same small group each week to review that content. And the kinds of activities that you would engage in are things like mock tests. They'll teach you some good, strong note-taking skills. They'll have you apply it to the readings that week or the lecture that week. They'll do lecture review. They'll help you with things like, how do you know out of a 3-hour lecture where somebody talked at you for 3 hours and you're scribbling down notes, how do you know what the core content of that is? Like, what are some of the key ideas in this discipline that you really should be taking away from that lecture and understanding? They'll have an opportunity for discussion, for group work. So, you know, in this distance learning environment, I think one of the things that is nice is an opportunity to get to meet people and get to know your peers. And they'll have interactive activities, so things that you get to do with other people. So that kind of sums up the stuff that you would take and it's built into your schedule as a student in our program. We also have advising and coaching available to you on an appointment basis. So you would meet one-on-one with a student advisor, and it's really easy to book an appointment. You just go onto our website, you click a time that works for you, and we'll have an online advising appointment, much like this, where we, you know, get on and get to see each other's faces and talk about how things are going. The advisors really are experts on, you know, what are the degree options? What's the difference between a major and a minor and a concentration and a specialization? And what programs have co-ops or practicums? We're there to help you review your progress. Like, how are you doing in your courses? How do you crunch the numbers and figure out what your GPA is? Carleton uses this 12-point scale. What does that even mean? So we're there to help you with all that stuff, connect you with any campus resources that you might need, add classes. So for example, if you do well first semester, you can apply to add an additional course in January, a course of your choosing. And then we're also there to help you with the transition going from our degree program, going from ESP or IESP into the degree of your choosing. So how does that work? What do you need to do to qualify? And then academic coaches are also available on an appointment basis. And so that's one-on-one support with your learning. They're there to help you with everything like navigating an online learning environment. How do you manage your time and stay organized and on top of things? They can help you build a personal study plan. They can offer support with essay writing. So sometimes in the first year, students get that first assignment and they look at it and think, I have no idea how to start this thing. They can help with that stage of it right through to looking at a final draft and offering you feedback on that draft, making sure it says what you're hoping it says. We have specific coaches for our math and science courses to help with that content. And you can think of the coaches as people who are there to help you with reading, writing, and thinking more critically, mastering those skills that you need to know and to be good at to make this university thing work. They're there to help you learn how to learn. So let's say you come in, you do all this stuff. How do you move from our program into the degree? Well, if you finish the program with the average that you need, you're guaranteed admission to the degree program. So to go into an arts program, so a Bachelor of Arts, and that would be things like law, psychology, sociology, history, criminology, those kind of programs, C+ for most programs. There's the odd one that has a higher GPA requirement, and the advisors are here to talk to you about that. C+ at Carleton is 67 to 69. For a business program, so if you're in our business stream, you need a B average, which is mid-70s, and a minimum core average. So those are the courses that are the required courses in the degree, so that be your math, your business, and your economics, of a C plus B minus, so around high 60s to low 70s. For computer science, you need a B minus average. For engineering, the average ranges between a B minus and an A minus, so between a 70 and an 80, just depending on which stream of engineering you're interested in. Aerospace is up here at that 80%, that A minus average. Some of the programs are less competitive right now, like electrical and environmental. We need environmental engineers, guys. And they'll admit you with a 70% average across your ESP year. And then science, they're looking for a C plus for the general degree, which would be your 3-year degree program, or a B minus for an honors degree, which would be your 4-year degree. There are a couple additional notes, and our program page on our website has this in greater detail, but by program completion, we mean things like you do all the courses and you don't drop anything. Engineering, they're also going to look back to your high school record for a physics course, because that's another prerequisite subject for engineering. If you don't have it, it is possible to pick it up on the side while you're doing ESP, but we encourage you to get it over with first, so you don't have to worry about that. And science honors, they're going to look back also to your high school record for one more experimental science, like maybe biology or something like that. So how do our students fare? Well, students with good attendance in the program, and I don't mean perfect, but students who show up to stuff, so not surprisingly, showing up matters. Students with 70% attendance or higher in their workshops and in their first-year seminar course, those students do really well. 80 to 90% of them make it into a degree program at the end of their year. So we have a really strong success rate if you make use of the supports that we have. For students who don't, the success rate is something like 40-some%. So I really encourage you, if you're considering the program at all, make use of those supports. It's going to make all the difference to how you do over the course of the year. Really do feel free to reach out to us. Our email address is all over our website. We're really happy to hear from people, happy to answer questions. I hope you all found tonight helpful in terms of just knowing what you might be getting yourself into if you come through our program. And we hope you consider applying. So thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see some of you in the fall. That would be amazing.